All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Some good-looking chiseled men here. Oh, also disclaimers. This is gonna be like half naked men usually in these videos. Yeah.
Yes, if you're not used to it.
They're Igorot.
But if you're Igorot, you probably are. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Igorot.
All right, here we go. Here's the first one.
Can you guys see it?
I can't see it.
Are we supposed to press it?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Press it.
How come we always have to be screaming, man?
300. The 300.
300, I know, right? Ah!
Now we're doing a haka.
I know, it looks like a haka. It's definitely haka influence or something. Wow.
Dave!
Well,
That was funny.
why the hell would you drop your shield, man? How would you drop your shield? For Christ's sake.
They're pretty rip.
Oh, well, he got killed for it. He dropped the shield.
Don't tell me they're gonna do the head ripping. They're gonna cut his head off.
I don't know if there's anything past this actually. I haven't watched this one.
Wow.
I think that's it.
I haven't seen this video, but I've seen videos very identical to it.
Oh my lord!
So let me guess. Let me make a guess. This is a PCN video, right? Filipino Cultural Night video done in a university from a Filipino club.
That I'm not 100% sure.
It looks like it.
It is called
Yeah.
the Bontoc War Dance. Is the title of the video.
Wow.
Well,
Does
does it look like a
it's in
Bontoc War Dance
2013.
I've seen.
MSMC Pangkat Filipinos PACN.
There you go.
That sounds like a PCN.
Yeah, it's like a-
PACN.
They have different
Filipino
names.
American.
Filipino American. Yeah.
Similar,
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh yeah, man. I've
Yeah.
seen this like
Filipino.
time and time again, and
Thoughts?
yeah, and like the universities. Well, you know,
Yeah.
they always do. They have the way that they've always done is they have like different suites. So like they'll have the Igorot suite, they'll have the modern dance suite, they'll have the barrio suite. So like they'll try to represent different aspects from the Philippines. They have the Moro suite and stuff, and yeah, it's a model that's taken from some of the old dance troupes from the Philippines from a long time ago, and you know, a lot of these Filipino cultural nights, when it comes to like the way they organize it, that's usually what they do, or that's the template. And usually when they do the what I've seen when they do the Igorot dances, yeah, they're always that's pretty common, like
Screaming all the time, man. We don't even live in the damn jungle, man. I mean, come on. We live in the mountains. If anything, we talk kind of slow and cowboyish. You know? I mean, geez.
the guy dropping his shield. Why did he do that, man?
Maybe it's because it's made out of cardboard.
Did anything in that dance remind you of anything from our
Of what
dances?
we do? No.
Nothing.
I mean, definitely
the shields, no.
the music is.
No, not the music. The maybe their Baja. It's some reminiscent of something southern. The shields were definitely not Igorot. In fact, their spears, they remind me more of Tayaha from the Maori.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
Well, they
of the
were doing
movements
kind of a
look
haka.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like haka, right?
Yeah. If you look at the like little tufts at the end where the metal is, that's what a taiaha is. Those are
Oh.
yeah. It's not like no. I don't even think it's a Filipino spear at all.
I mean, I'm not
Definitely not Igorot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
If I was a college student, I'd be definitely entertained, though.
Yeah,
so I
they're
mean,
they're hot. They're attractive.
Well,
They're
that's the
sexy.
thing. It was definitely entertaining. Halfway through, I
yeah,
forgot
it was definitely
yeah,
entertaining, man. I
I
was
forgot
like,
it was
oh
supposed to be
man,
like an Igorot dance.
yeah.
It's
If
just
it
like,
wasn't Igorot dance, I was like, oh man, that looks like fun, man. Ah! Does that look like fun? I mean, come on, man.
does,
I
yes.
mean, sometimes I wish we could do that, in our thing, but it's like that's not our way.
Mhm. So just one more thing about this before we move on to the next one. How about the I don't know if they're all Filipino. They could be some other sort of Asian, but how about the non-Asians dancing this dance? How do you guys feel about that? Just because
Was there non-Asians?
there's some
there's two
opinions.
white dudes.
There's some opinions about it. So how do you
Maybe
guys
they're
feel about that?
mestizo. I mean,
Hey, we have a culture to share, and I think that's good in terms of like being able to share who we are. I think that there's a lot of things that people will say, but in my opinion, um, our what we have is worth sharing. I mean, it's always awkward because the actual representation. The reality is that they might not have a local resource wherever they are. They might not had any Igorot people who might not know anything about it. So
Right.
I mean, it's always about the relationships. So if you don't have the local resource or the connections, you just wouldn't know. So you're just gonna go and look at a bunch of videos and say, "Hey, which one will get everyone lined up?" Everyone always, you notice like the real Igorots aren't there because we all got a little bit of extra, baby fat. Some of us, so so people always have this misconception that, oh man, you have to look a certain way, but reality is that I think I mean, to me it was entertaining and from just when you just look at the energy point of view. But was it authentic? Did they have the resources? No, they didn't. And what I would wish is that maybe if we had the opportunity to connect with certain groups, and I know this has been done. I've seen this with like the Sumiban girls doing stuff in the places that they are, and they went and they actually solicited. I know they solicited Mark for advice, and they were doing this when he was in the UK. They even borrowed our gongs for this stuff. So I mean, so uh, there are ways that we can teach, but generally people just don't know that we exist, or how to reach out. Because if you look, we barely have many online presence anywhere, and if it is, it's like somewhere in the Philippines, or it's some like old website that was made like in the 2000s.
it could also be that the people choreographing think that's how the dance is supposed to be. It could be that too.
That's true.
They might think that they don't need extra resources because they think their interpretation of what dance is something that's on the stage and performed. Because we have the way that we see it in our culture, it's communal, and it's kind of like it's not really necessarily just performance. This is more like celebration or something dealing with the moment and within the community, and so people will dance, and it's to express whether it to be to support the prayers done beforehand, but also to express joy or pain or whatever they're expressing, but it's not necessarily for stage. So it could be like just the mentality of the people who are kind of making these productions don't feel they have to look for other resources because that's what they know and that's what they feel it is for this. Because
that's what they imagine it is.
Yeah, that's what they imagine it is. Then they've interpreted it that way. And I don't mind if they call it like dance, like interpretive dance, but like like going back to like maybe we don't know if they're non-Filipino or not. They could be mestizo, mix, or whatever. But let's say they're not, and they're just really interested in Filipino culture, and maybe they got like they got pulled in just because they have good-looking bodies or whatever. Because I've seen that.
Probably
I've seen
true.
that. Oh, they got a really good friend. He has a good body. Hey, come and do the Filipino dances with us. And he's really good friends with them. Loves lumpia, and then he joins in, and that's all good. It just would be nice if you're going to represent the culture to explain to them that this is actually more of for entertainment or for like interpretive dance.
I think if you issue with some Igorot participating, that's almost to me like racist, right? But I've seen where I remember back in one of the Korean ones where there were non-Filipinos Igorot stuff, and I kind of felt like that was kind of off to me. Not because they were non-Filipinos, but because to me it felt like what they thought they were dancing was, and that's where I don't think it's okay. Not necessarily okay, but I think that's where it's kind of like an issue of when it's not an issue of that they're non-Filipino. It's an issue of that the education of what the actual dance is or what they interpret the dances to be. So it's definitely not. Just don't be racist. Honestly, the world is the way it is right now because it's racist. So don't be like that. But definitely educate.
Yeah, talking about racist, I just got like the confirmation that we're going to a citywide curfew starting tonight.
Wow!
There you go.
Wow!
Yeah.
San Francisco.
So, yeah.
Ken just
going on the lockdown.
Just don't be racist.
It's like a double lockdown, man. You're already on lockdown. You're going on double lockdown, dude.
I know. It's like, wait a minute. We already on lockdown? Yeah.
So Ken just put out a comment here. It's probably tough as well to get a good group of people to dance. I mean, that's always
That's true.
That's always an issue. It's hard to get people to get together and show up and perform and just be there.
Even for
that's true.
Even for our groups, it's hard to get people to dance.
Yeah, that is tough.
Yeah,
I mean, like if they're gonna do it with the proper way, they gotta learn how to play the gangsa, and that alone takes time, even before you start moving.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just made the announcement,
and I think this just goes back to whenever we do our quote unquote performances. If we just need to do a better job of educating at the same time, I think, and if everybody does that consistently, I think I think it'll be for the better. And
it always strikes me that like when people make references to Southern dances, a lot of times they will find someone. It's almost as if there's a great reverence for the Southern dances, and maybe because they're Muslims, where a lot of them are Muslim. But there's definitely a certain kind of reverence that people will take towards it. Like they don't want to hack it.
Yeah.
A lot of times, whereas they will hack our stuff. Like, yeah, that's okay. Those guys are
like
just
it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely because there's not much. That's definitely because there's not much representation for Igorots, and definitely piece of voice. And I do think that there are some legitimate issues for non-Igorots to look on our culture in a very ignorant way, but there's also the reason why some people see it that way because there's a lot of lack of knowledge. So it's like it's where people choose to be ignorant, and then there's also the fact that there's not much education on it. So that's probably why.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of
in
different
fact,
factors.
if you listen to the drumming from that last video, that drumming that you heard in the back is more Southern inspired.
Southern, yeah.
And even when I first started watching PCNs, and before I actually participated and led in Igorot 1, most of the time they didn't know any better. They used like just the beating of the Moro gangsa or gongs that they use.
Exactly.
But you're right, Jay. I think from what I remember at the time, most of the folks during my university time, they were able to find the resources for the Southern dances. And the only reason that they actually did anything during my time I was there is because I made a big hoo-ha about it. I complained, hey man, that doesn't represent my people, And then that's when they said, oh, could you teach it? And that's kind of where it all began for me. Right? I realized I had
we should be
share
doing that a bit more.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Like calling.
But we did have the resources too, because we had some of the elders come up. I remember the late Dr. Knapp came and taught some of the folks. And then we had a few others like and then I think Uncle Albert Ngaya, he came too to a few of these things to
that was in UC Davis or something like that though.
Yeah, but we had quite a few of our folks just come in and just like be willing to teach and support what the heck we were doing, which was kind of cool.